major spoilers are about to happen in this video, so if you do not want to know anything about Game of Thrones Season 8 and the filming, go ahead and click out of this video. But before you do, there is in fact a holiday giveaway going on, so you can actually click the link down below in the description, follow all those steps, and you will be entered into that link. Basically, all you have to do is like this video, make sure you're subscribed, and then turn on your notifications here on YouTube so that way you get alerted every single time I drop Game of Thrones content throughout this off-season. Okay, so as of right now, there are two major studios slash set pieces that are being built. One is the always filmed at Winterfell. That's in Northern Ireland in Belfast, and it just looks like the set is getting bigger. They've actually recently started putting in a moat around it, so we definitely are going to have a huge battle that takes place at Winterfell. And there's going to be several trebuchets that are used. Trebuchets are basically giant catapult. Ballista is more like a giant crossbow. So basically with these catapults, they're likely going to be used to fend off the most major enemy in the north is definitely going to be the undead. The reason why I say major is because we definitely know Cersei is going to be trying to foil their plans. Now, I could totally see her, once the Golden Company arrives in Westeros, she's going to send them, along with Euron, up to go in, try to screw with Dany and Jon's plans. She'll likely try to do some sneaky stuff where she'll sneak, maybe certain troops in certain locations to take out certain key forces of Daenerys's. So that way, if the Night King is successful in defeating Jon Snow and Daenerys, Cersei won't have, anyone to contend with her over the realm. I honestly think as of right now, going into season 8, not really knowing too much from spoilers and there hasn't really been a sufficient leaked plot yet, I honestly think Cersei's plan might be to try to screw with Daenerys a little bit, but to mainly stay out of the Night King's way. I think she's going to try to hide it out. You know what I mean? How in a lot of heist films or action flicks, there's always the one person who survives, and it's usually the one who's the biggest coward. Now, I'm not saying Cersei's a coward by any means, but she is definitely the type to want to save her own ass. You know what I mean? She doesn't have any children to try to save anymore, and she doesn't really have Jaime. She officially lost Jaime last season, so I think she's strictly going to be looking out for herself and the child that she may be potentially carrying. So with that being the case, I see Cersei spending most of Season 8 hiding off somewhere away from most of the battle and chaos. Now, according to our sources from Watch on the Wall, which their article is linked down below in the description, so you can click that link and go check this article out directly for yourself. I want to thank you so much, Watch on the Wall. But according to them, the White Walkers, when they're attacking Winterfell, it's going to be a protracted siege. Now, I'm not, a huge battle guy and a huge, war buff, so I had to look that up. Basically, what it means is a long-lasting siege. This is exactly what I wanted for Season 8. I had said this in several prediction videos and my live streams and all these videos that I've been doing since Season 7 ended, is that I wanted long, intense battle scenes. Battle scenes that could potentially last multiple episodes. Would that not be great? If we don't get a battle scene for the entire episode, we'll get, most of it shown, and then they'll go and maybe catch up with some other characters and then come back to that same battle still in progress in the next episode. That is what I'm looking for the final season of Game of Thrones. When I initially got hooked on this show, my mindset was, this is a realistic medieval fantasy. The fantasy element in the early seasons was almost non-existent. You know what I mean? There were whispers, yeah, there were little baby dragons, there was a little bit of magic shown by Daenerys here and there was some mystery, but now it's full-on, straight-out fantasy series. So it's going to be a nice, comeback to these epic, insane war scenes. Season 7 had some great battles, don't get me wrong. The dragons kind of owned. In any battle they were in, whether it was the Night King on Viserion or whether it was Daenerys on Drogon and using Rhaegal and Viserion, they owned. So it'll be nice to go back to insane battles like this. Now, I know they're going to be fighting zombies, so the fantasy element is still there, but it's also an insane battle. You know what I mean? I likely see something along the lines of Jon Snow and Daenerys arriving in Winterfell. We get maybe either 2 or 3 scenes of relax and chilling, but we saw the Night King has officially crossed the wall. The real determination on how quickly he arrives at Winterfell is going to be whether he goes to Castle Black to wipe out the remaining Night's Watch members. I honestly think he's going to do that. It kind of seems stupid to walk along the wall to get to Castle Black, but this is a TV show, and we all know that they're going to be using Baelish's fast travel services since he's no longer in need of those, and he's currently missing his, whatever that artery is in your throat. I guess it's some kind of major artery, femoral artery or tracheal. It's the carotid artery. I had to actually pause recording and go ask my registered nurse girlfriend. But yes, either way, Baelish is dead, and he won't be using those fast travel services. So I could totally see the Night King and his forces being fast-tracked to the wall just to kill, Dolorous Ed and the rest of the Night's Watch members, showing us how insane it's going to be. And that would be a good way to start off. Like, let's say the first time we see the Night King in Season 8, he's attacking the wall in Castle Black. Then, logically, the next step would be Winterfell. Winterfell in Season 8, the final season of Game of Thrones, just may in fact be the greatest battle we've ever seen. Now, I know there's going to be a final standoff point, like a major final battle, where all of the forces of good versus all the forces of evil. We're going to have that kind of moment, but I think one of the most insane battles up there with Hardhome and the Battle of the Bastards is definitely going to be this battle for Winterfell. Now, I do think Winterfell will eventually fall, but I think they're going to put up a hell of a fight. That will also allow our major characters, Jon Snow, Daenerys, Arya, and everyone else who's there to escape. So if we have an insane battle that's going on for, if not an entire episode, multiple episodes stretched out, let me know what you all think down below what's going to happen. If this is going to be a major battle that lasts an entire episode, or if it's going to be a major battle that's taking place over several episodes, and we might even get waves of the Night Kings of troops attacking. So let's say, we get an intense battle for 30 minutes, and then he kind of holds off, has to regroup, regather his forces, and this also gives time for our main characters, the good guys, to do this as well. What do you think this battle will be like for Winterfell, and do you think it will stand up there with Battle of the Bastards and Hardhome? Okay, so now on to the major spoilers. So I'll go ahead and throw up another spoiler warning. You can go ahead and back out of the video now. You shouldn't have honestly clicked on this video if you didn't want to know anything about Game of Thrones Season 8. Okay, so this is in regards to that second mysterious set that no one really knew what it was for. We all kind of, predicted that it may be a castle. It may be somewhere Cersei runs to. It may be a new northern kingdom. But come to find out, it just kept growing bigger and bigger. Come to find out, it's actually the streets of King's Landing. Like, straight up the streets of King's Landing. Now, usually, they use actual medieval cities and, medieval towns and stuff to film the streets of King's Landing on. But the reason why they were building these separate... Now, this set is actually right outside the giant studio in Belfast in Moneyglass in Northern Ireland. The reason why they decided to build this set is because these houses on this set in the streets of King's Landing will be on fire. Not just by any fire, it's going to be dragon fire. According to Watchers on the Wall sources, there were controlled fires that were taking place at this set before, they finished building it. And the reason why they did it there is because obviously residents and people who live in those medieval towns and locations don't want the chance of their houses catching on fire. So it just makes sense that Game of Thrones has to build their own set to burn down. Now, when you hear dragon fire on King's Landing, up until the last episode of Season 7, that was automatically red flag goes off. Daenerys, Mother of Dragons, Fire and Blood, has finally going to get its vengeance. But that's not the case anymore. The dragons are playing for both sides. So this could potentially be Daenerys showing up. Now, what would likely happen in that scenario is Cersei pissed Daenerys off. Maybe she did something that could have pushed Jon to being close to really dying, or maybe Jon did actually die, and Daenerys just flies straight from Winterfell down to King's Landing and just burns all of King's Landing. Now, the likelihood of that happening is kind of slim and none, because Daenerys, if she was going to do that, she would have done it last season. She would have flown straight to the Red Keep. And if you want to know my thoughts on, how Daenerys, how her plan of attack should have gone, you can actually click this link right up here, and that'll take you to a video I did a few days back where I mentioned several moments that I would have changed in Game of Thrones Season 7. But anyway, the chances of that happening are likely slim and none. Like, Daenerys knows that her beef and her quarrel will be with Cersei, so why would she not fly straight to the Red Keep instead of burning innocents throughout the citizens of King's Landing, if you want to call these people innocent? But why would she do that? So what's more likely, the scenario that happens, is that the Night King, after destroying Winterfell, after winning the Battle of Winterfell, flies to King's Landing and takes out the next big population of humans. He needs to add more members to his army. Maybe Daenerys and Jon ruined so many of his soldiers before, like they burned the hell out of them. You can't really resurrect ashes. You know what I mean? So maybe he has to go to King's Landing to build his army back up. So let's say the forces of good and evil are regrouping, and Daenerys and Jon escape with their life, maybe one of the dragons and, a good significant portion. Grey Worms, Unsullied, or the Dothraki. And when they do that, we have the Night King going down to King's Landing and attacking them head on with Viserion, burning the streets of King's Landing. So this could be Daenerys, going to go solve the Cersei issue once and for all. But I think it's more so it's the Night King. I think Winterfell is named for where the last long night ended, basically where winter fell. So it would only make sense if that same battle is reenacted in modern day in Westeros and winter rises. So basically that's what makes the Night King full on enter Westeros. Like, he's already in Westeros at that point, but Winterfell was like one of the last strongest defenses that would have been able to stand up to taking down the Night King, and it's gone. So winter rose from where winter falls. And this also brings up, the option of having that final battle take place at the Isle of Faces. Now, I know lots of you guys think that there's some significance to the Isle of Faces and how Howland Reed went there before going to the Turning Harrenhal, but that's for another video. If you guys want me to do a video on the Isle of Faces and the significance of the pact between the First Men and the Chosen of the Forest, let me know down below in the comments section. I think, the more and more I think about this, the more and more I think that it's definitely going to happen. It's definitely going to be the Night King burning King's Landing. This is supposedly have been, up in the works since season 1. We've all kind of wanted to see King's Landing burn. There's all these jokes about, from characters and people who live in Westeros that King's Landing is just a terrible waste of space of city, and honestly, all the events that surround King's Landing, the people in power there, it's all been negative connotations on the show. It's either Ned Stark getting beheaded, the Stark family getting destroyed, Sansa being tortured. It's got a lot of negativity mixed in with it. So I think this could be Dan and Dave giving us that fan service that not only is King's Landing getting burned, but it's getting burned by the Night King. You know what I mean? So it's like we get our just desserts, but we don't have to have Daenerys become this evil woman killing innocents in the city just because she's pissed off at Cersei. So I think that this city burning on this set, the controlled fires that they're doing, and we do have it confirmed that it will be attacked by dragons. It was left up in the air whether it was Daenerys or the Night King. I personally think that it's going to be the Night King 100%. He will have to recoup some of those losses from that major, insane, protracted battle at Winterfell because Daenerys and Jon burned up so many of his troops to the point where he can't resurrect them. So he had to go to the biggest, the highest density population in Westeros, and that's why he went straight down from Winterfell to King's Landing. Let me know what you all think down below in that comment section. Do you think that I'm on the right track here? Do you think that it's Daenerys going to go finally put an end to Cersei, or do you think it's the Night King? And also, what do you think they're going to be doing with that major Winterfell battle? Do you think it's going to take place over 1 episode or over 2 episodes? I am in fact doing a major holiday giveaway on this channel where there will be 5 separate winners. All you have to do to enter that contest is like this video, leave a comment down below, make sure you are subscribed, and then go ahead and turn your notifications on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop Game of Thrones content throughout this off-season / long night wait for Season 8. I want to thank everyone so much for watching this video. Please make sure you're subscribed, and then also make sure you slap a like on this video. A super special thought out to the executive producers of this video. Those are Mario and Terry. Without you all, these videos would not be possible. And also, super special shout out to everyone who's a member of my Patreon. If anyone watching is interested in joining my Patreon, all you have to do is click the link right up here or check the link down below in the description. I want to thank everyone again so much for watching. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews.